Hello guys, how are we all doing? First off, I want to thank a friend of mine for buying me a new microphone. I feel like a professional podcaster now. He'd watched one of my other videos, it was obviously one of my earlier ones where I was complaining my equipment was shit. And you may have noticed in previous videos, the microphone that I did actually go out and buy, the sound sometimes went a little bit distorted and sounded like I was underwater. So I'm actually really grateful. Thank you, Simon, for buying me this for this microphone. I do feel like a DJ or a pro singer or a pro podcaster even. So, but today's video, I want it to be around people's skepticism about Jason's work. So I put my videos on YouTube and I've had the same thoughts. I sometimes get, well, what if this is a psyop? What if this is just distraction so we don't take action in this world? You know, we're all sat there waiting for 2040 to happen because, hey, it's going to be the end of the world anyway. A slight exaggeration because I think 2046 is the bigger event. But anyway, so, and I suppose disregarding Jason's work, now you do have to really delve into Jason's work to fully appreciate where he gets his knowledge from. He doesn't get anything off the internet, because we all know that anything that's on the internet is doctored. So his work comes from original sources, original manuscripts, ancient books, ancient texts. And he's done videos of all the books that he's got in his studio. Some of them are that thick, you know, from the 1800s. And he's basically gone through, and he's had the time to do it because, as I've said in other videos, he spent 26 years in prison. So he's had the time to correlate all this information and write his volumes of Chronicon. And so, but I was just listening to a podcast that he did with Jordan from Waters Above Crypto, and Jordan asked him, can you tell us what the Phoenix is for dummies? So I actually just recited, I've written down and I'm going to recite what Jason actually said. So the Phoenix is a phenomenon that happens in our world every 138 years and happens in different geographical areas. It affects different communities, different civilizations. It induces resets, clever resets, mass human disappearances, population disappearances, new populations suddenly appear. It does edits, resets, are all covered up by this red dust, red mud phenomena that falls out of the sky. It's not just natural phenomena, it's something bigger than that, and it masks its behaviour in natural phenomena. And he goes on to just say other things. But in the Archaix group on Facebook, I was having a chat with some people, and somebody kindly posted some news articles from 1902 of storms that happened in Australia. So I'm just going to quickly read them to you. So we've got Saturday the 18th January 1902. Violent storm at Malong, Monday. The most violent storm ever remembered here occurred yesterday. It is the only subject talked about this morning, and some people have not yet recovered from the effect. During Sunday morning, a cyclone passed over the town from the southwest, accompanied by several whirlwinds, bringing clouds of dust and rubbish along. There are a few raindrops in the afternoon. Let's see if I can. No, there are a few. There we are. Sorry, I'm just zooming it out so we don't zoom it out too much. Too much. There we are. There were a few raindrops in the afternoon and a thunderstorm without rain, which temporarily cooled the air. The storm was more severe at Gara, where the lightning ignited a stubble paddock and several panels of fencing were burnt, but it was put out before serious damage was done. At night, a most terrific storm occurred. Every star was blotted out by dark clouds soon after 8 o'clock, and the air was filled with lightning of all sorts of shapes and colours. That's interesting. Excuse me. The scene was grand, but it struck terror to the hearts of many. An enormous fireball of violet hue fell behind the hills at the western end of the town, travelling from the southern zenith. Many people affirmed that they felt the heat of it in their faces and a quivering sensation through the body. One exceptionally brilliant flash of red-blue foot lightning was followed instantly by a terrifying crash of thunder that shook many buildings to their foundation. People in the streets suddenly stood still and trembled with fear, and then hurriedly sought shelter. Women and children ran terrified, they not know where. Many thinking the end of the world had come. And then it goes on, and I can't read the rest of it because it's cut off. And then 23rd of January 1902. Severe storms in Australia, destructive bushfires, United Press Association by Electric Telegraph, copyright. Received January the 22nd, 9:55 p.m. Sydney, January 22nd. The weather is most oppressive and disagreeable. Since early morning, the sun has been completely obscured by a thick dust-coloured haze, which is so dense in the harbour that navigation was difficult. Similar conditions prevail over the greater part of the Commonwealth. Dense dust storms are sweeping across the continent from the west, accompanied by a hot wind, in numbers of cases followed by destructive gales. Bushfires are also again causing much damage in many districts. Melbourne, January 22nd. A storm swept across the city in the early hours, doing such damage to property. Several steamers broke loose. The steamer Albert collided with the Tug Hawk, and both were considerably damaged. Adelaide, January the 22nd. At Glenage, the cutter Heather, Bell and several boats belonging to clubs were sunk. Much damage was also done to houses and property by the storm. And then we've got... This was Thursday the 13th of November 1902. And for some reason, I now can't find the article. This is my second attempt, by the way, guys. And I was I was reading through this article and I just lost it. So I just decided to redo the video. So great dust storm, Melbourne and country, exceptionally violent. So Melbourne, November 13th, a dust storm of exceptional violence passed over Melbourne at noon yesterday, and its severity was not appreciably lessened until night had fairly set in. A scorching wind blew from between the northeast and northwest throughout the afternoon and kept blinding clouds of dust constantly in motion. A canopy of dust overhung the city with such a darkening effect that early lightning up became necessary. Reports to hand from the country show that in some districts the residents were thrown into a state of alarm by the terrific nature of the storm. At Pyramid Hill, the township was plunged into total darkness by the dust storms, and persona who were out of the doors at the time had to cling to whatever they could lay their hands upon to prevent themselves being blown off their feet. The storm played havoc with the Victorian telegraph lines in all directions, and communication with Adelaide was entirely off at 2 o'clock. During the storm, the wind attained a velocity of 50.5 miles per hour. So I'll link those in the description below for you to go and have a read of them yourself. But when you start to absorb yourself in Jason's work, he talks about lots of examples. There was one that I remember where, and this is why he believes it to be a weapon in the sky and not natural phenomena. So there was one where he talks about there was a beam that attacked a town, and this beam basically destroyed a number of houses, but then left, it was either trees or cars, whatever it left, but there were certain things that were untouched in the town. So it was a very targeted event, and there are numerous examples. Now, what's interesting is that this is Australia. Australia, for those of you who have been following the narrative over the last 3 years, has actually been hit quite hard with the NWO. And It's prime real estate. And again, I'll link the interview with Jason and the couple from Australia talking about why Australia is actually prime real estate. And maybe that was a target. Australia was a target in 1902 because, as I said there about it's not always a worldwide phenomena. It's geographical. I think 2040 is going to be a worldwide phenomena. No, actually, correction. From what I understand, 2040 is going to hit Asia and China and those countries. 2046, I believe, and 2040 is going to be a pole shift. So the planet, the plane, whatever you want to call it, is going to shift 30 degrees, which will take the UK nearest the equator, and London will disappear. Mid-America will disappear. You know, so that's with the pole shift. And then just as we're recovering from that, 2046 is when Nibiru is set to hit. But I haven't done an awful lot of research on 2046 at the moment, because I'm still trying to get to grips with previous works from his 300 videos and his books. So I'm going to conclude there. This video, as I said, was for the skeptics, because I put one of my videos, not a video, I'd done something, I'd made a post on Facebook explaining my journey of how I've got to Jason and why I believe Jason's work to be the truth in this world of untruths. And somebody questioned, how do we know that that's not a psyop? How do we know that you know, it's not just false information if everything else out there it can be propagated as false information, which I completely agree with. But as I explained at the beginning of the video, where Jason's got his work from, its original sources, and for me that's why it gives it solidity as evidential, as it being evident that the phoenix is actually a thing, and all the examples that he gives. So I hope that helps some people, those of you who want to delve in to Jason's work. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to do a waffle. Thank you, Simon, for the microphone. Speak to you all soon, guys. Bye.